Hey y'all, so today I am recording a word on the movie Alice in Wonderland. This came out, if I'm not mistaken, I think 2010. I'll put when it came out on the screen, but this message is about, it's titled, It's Time to Live Your Own Life. The Lord gave me a movie breakdown message on this movie. At first I wasn't expecting to get a message on this movie, but the Lord broke it down. So just a short summary. I'm not going to go through all the scenes in the movie, but only the ones that were like highlighted to me. So just a short summary. This movie is about a girl named Alice who follows a white rabbit down a rabbit hole into a nonsensical world called Wonderland, where she encounters bizarre creatures and experiences illogical events, including frequent and dramatic changes in size after eating or drinking magical items. So, starting off with the first scene. Alright, so starting with the first scene. In the beginning of the movie, Alice and her father, they're basically, I think he's reading a story to her and they're talking. And so it's a pretty close scene. They're just having like a father and daughter moment. And she also tells him about like her dream. And so soon after that scene ends, he ends up dying, and the scene skips to Alice being older. So in this scene, we're seeing where she's talking to her mother, and they're heading somewhere, and basically a lot of decisions are being made for her, even though it's made known that she's 20 years old. So she's at age to choose for herself, but because of her family background, it's like they're all stuck in this toxic, systematic mode where you're not allowed to be yourself or really have like a mind of your own, and it's seen as abnormal and going against the grain. So this ends up being a problem because maybe you have gone through what Alice is going through if you're a young adult listening, or maybe you're older in your adult years, but you have family members or people who are just very controlling. So this is how Alice is feeling in the beginning of the movie. So her family was telling her who she was going to marry, and she did not want to marry this guy. His name is Heyman, and she didn't even really like him. So they were expecting her to accept this engagement proposal that happens, and in the middle of him proposing to her in front of everyone, because it was like a surprise proposal, but she found out about it, so it really wasn't, she had to act surprised. So in the middle of it, she gets an interruption because he asks her, what do you say? Will you marry me? And he's down on one knee, and she sees in the corner of her eye, a watch ticking and a rabbit. He's holding like a pocket watch in his hand, and he's saying time's up. So then she says, excuse me, and she runs after this rabbit, and he leads her to a passageway. So this was an unexpected interruption. So this is what God is saying to many of you. Time is up concerning allowing people to sway you into decisions that you don't even want to make, and it's time for you to break tradition and break free from control and do exactly what God leads you to. So later in the movie, there's a white horse and there's a red horse. The white horse is representing the kingdom of good and the queen of good, because there's two queens. There's the white queen and then the red queen. The red queen represents the bad queen, and these two queens are sisters, but they're enemies. It's really the red queen that doesn't like the queen of hearts, but anyways, they do have names, but I'm just gonna say red queen, which is like the bad one, and then queen of hearts is the good one. And you can say the good one, the white queen is representative of God's kingdom, and then the red queen is representative of the demonic kingdom. So what ends up happening is that Alice follows this rabbit, and she ends up tumbling down this deep hole, really like into another realm of her dream world, because she notices it right away. So they keep asking the new characters in this dream world, because she thinks she's dreaming. They keep asking her if she's the right Alice, and she's, not even sure. But when she saw the scroll, they showed her this scroll showing like the upcoming future date of when she's to slay this gigantic animal with a sword. It's like a prophetic scroll that they end up showing her, and she claims it has to be someone else as she's looking, because she just immediately started getting like afraid and scared, like, no, that can't be me. And they say, well, it looks just like you, like who else, could it be? This is the real Alice. This is what is prophesied for her to do. Now, Alice gets immediately scared and afraid. So when it comes to making a quick decision that God's going to lead you to make, you're going to have to think for yourself. It's going to feel abnormal, and then when God starts to show you your purpose and your dream behind the decision he's leading you to make, oftentimes it's going to feel too big, or like if you're underqualified to make that type of decision or do that thing God is leading you to do. But that's why God gave you a vision, because you're going to need his help to make it happen, or partner with him for it to happen. So it's when Alice ends up getting into a position where she has to choose whether she's going to play it safe or she's going to save her friends from the Red Queen. She ends up, because her friends in the dream or the dream world, they end up being captured, and she had to decide if she was going to save them or just, be scared, basically let fear overcome her. So there is a big decision that the Lord will set you in position to make very soon that will be very costly on both sides, whether you choose to obey him or not. But for your sanctity, or for you, I would pray that you would make the right decision. So if Alice would have remained in fear, she would have lost her friends and would have been stuck in bondage to that fear. But if she would face this monster / this giant that she has to slay and overcome, then she would get her friends back, and peace would be restored to the land because of the devastation that the Red Queen caused years back. The land that the White Queen owned had never been the same since they took the great loss of lives and homes that were destroyed because the Red Queen, her sister, had set fire to the land as vengeance for this hatred she's been holding against her since they were children. And so whatever the Lord is leading you to do is very important you follow through. He will give you the courage, the peace, whatever you need to make that decision, even though the decision comes with risk on both sides. God's will is safer than our own. Now it kind of moves on to this fake friendship that ends up developing because Alice had to get into the Red Queen's palace in order to, find out where her friends were being held captive and stuff and get to them. So she uses this strategy of creating like a friendship with the Red Queen to try and save her friends. So they establish a fake connection that causes Alice a fake connection that Alice uses how, she feels rejected due to being too tall or, just bigger than other people. And so she kind of like sympathizes with the Red Queen because the Red Queen feels abnormal and weird because people look at her crazy for having like an unusual big head. So you're going to have to do the same. You're going to have to use strategy and wisdom from God in the process of learning or receiving the revelation you need to slay your giant or overcome any fears tied to your big decision God is calling you to make. Your big decision could be moving somewhere new God is calling you to, stepping into your purpose, living out that gift, stepping into that relationship God has for you. I don't know what your individual situation is, but you do. So take it as it applies to you. And also take this message back to the Lord as well, and he will give further revelation and clarity on whether this message is for you or just further instructions. But whatever decision God is calling you to make, it is big and it cannot be ignored. God will not allow you to ignore it. So, hopping closer to the end of the movie, I only wrote down like the scenes, like I said, that was highlighted to me. So there's this scene where Alice has to get this specific sword. It's called the Vorpal sword. And is being held captive near this scary animal. Guarding it, the name of the animal is Bandersnatch, that's his name, and the key is basically around his neck. So she fights him, and then he lets her grab the key from around his neck. And the key goes to this box, this brown box or treasure box, and she's able to get the sword that she needs to slay the Jabberwocky. That's the name of the big dragon that the Red Queen owns, just like it was shown in the prophecy scroll that her friends in the dream showed to her in the beginning when she first arrived in the dream world. And so there will be challenges as you get to making this big decision, but don't fear because God is giving you the tools and provision needed to follow through. Don't let fear cause you to turn back around. So before Alice goes and saves her friend or slays this dragon per se, the White Queen says to her, this line was very much highlighted to me and stood out to me. She says, Alice, you cannot live your life to please others. The choice must be yours. Because when you step out to fight that creature, you will step out to fight alone. This stuck out to me because most of my life I've always been like a people pleaser, but God has been working that mode off of me, especially in 2025 or now in 2026, and just been letting me know like I deserve to live my life how I please, as long as I'm pleasing the Lord. And it doesn't matter what, anybody else thinks or says. So most times I would just stay quiet to keep the peace, but God is having me, stop doing that because it's not right to try to keep the peace when he's trying to disrupt the peace. And, true feelings just need to be spoken on both sides, not just one side. My feelings are important too, to be voiced. So there are some problems God causes to see if we will react differently and pass the test. So coming up to the battle scene, it's White Kingdom versus Red Kingdom, so good versus bad, and it's a fight for the crown. Because at this moment, the Red Queen has the crown. And so after Alice slays the beast head, which was a long and drawn out battle, but she did it, the crown is given back to the White Queen. So, like I said, the White Queen and the Red Queen are sisters, and punishment is doled on the Red Queen, so she's banished to the Outlands. So Alice wins and rulership is restored back to the White Queen, which she stole the rulership in the crown years ago, but the White Queen banishes her right after the battle. So Alice says goodbye to her friends in the magical world, and after she heads back home, she tells Haman, the person who proposed to her that she didn't want to marry, she told him no to the engagement. And then she tells her family and friends who are still standing there, because it's almost like time stood still while she went into this dream world. And she told her family and friends and, people that were also gathered in the town how she really felt. And so she stands up for herself, and she chooses to no longer be silent about what she wants nor how she feels. And I felt very proud for her in a moment, because that's a moment of vindication and joy and true peace when you're able to voice your feelings out loud and not allow anybody to make you feel guilty for it. So I was very proud of Alice, and she was proud of herself. So once you face your fears and you fight back the way God needs you to, you will feel complete release from the old place that you are in, and you're able to move on to a whole new chapter of your life. You'll be turning the page, is what I heard the Lord say. So hallelujah, thank you Jesus for that. So she ends up joining her past father's company with a man who bought it, and he saw her vision and believed in it, and then he offered her a job. So as she boards the ship at the end of the movie, she boards this ship graceful as ever, and then a blue butterfly lands on her shoulder. So people would tell her ship life is not for men, is for men, not women, but Alice went forth for her dream, and she got the job she wanted, and she was able to travel around the world, and basically able to live out her dream and live life how she chose to. So the blue butterfly is significant, showing that as you fly high and you evolve, same way a caterpillar goes through a process of evolving into that butterfly, you will reach new heights and new levels, and you will truly be able to fly free. Life is going to be different because the life of a caterpillar is mostly spent on the ground unless they're climbing different areas or trees or plants or whatnot. But a butterfly, you're able to have more reach, more freedom, flying wherever you want to. So that's what I was hearing concerning this word. So I hope that it did resonate with anybody. God did have me watch the second movie, the sequel to Alice in Wonderland. I think it's called Through the Looking Glass. I watched that movie twice. The first time I didn't really take notes, but God had me go back and watch it, and He gave me a word that um, concerning the second movie too, so stay tuned for that. I also have a movie interpretation concerning Coraline because God had me rewatch that movie as well. I've seen that movie many times, but the download that I got from watching Coraline was, wow. But there's more movie interpretations coming. I only do this as the Lord leads me to, and release messages that the Lord puts on my heart and my mind too, because it's for somebody, not just me. Some messages are for me, some of them aren't, but I just release them as the Lord sees fit. But I pray that this message bless you. If you feel led to give or sow into the ministry, all of the information can be found in the description box along with my Faith Journey blog. Feel free to subscribe to that with your email. It's free, and I post like monthly on there. I might start posting twice since I'm no longer doing my health blog. Just don't see, I keep getting locked out of that account, and I'm taking it as a sign that, that chapter of doing the health blog posts have kind of, closed or whatnot. So I'm just going to be putting more effort and time into the other things God is calling me to. But I pray y'all have a blessed day, and I pray that this message bless you. And be sure to subscribe and comment down below. Bye.